Well, welcome to the second edition of our team coaching series. Hopefully you've also been able to listen to the two ministry team workshops that are connected with this last section, which focused on healthy leadership and developing others through the mentoring process. In this section, we'll focus on the importance of a shared vision and how to create one in your own ministry. Being able to have a broad overview and perspective of how individual decisions affects the whole organization has been called systems approach. While not everyone in the church is aware or needs to understand all these dynamics, it is important that key leaders have an understanding of this if they are going to lead effective ministries. The lack of this systems approach can explain why some ministries, even though they seem to have lots of vision and have agreed on the mission statement, and they still struggle to implement their goals and how they're going to achieve that vision. In our first section, our discussion centered on the need for new wineskins in order to contain the new wine. We are now on page 11 of the coaching guide, and I want to discuss some matters relating to seeing the big picture. This will help us evaluate if the structure of our ministry or church is adequately prepared to bring about the change and fulfill its mission. This second section of our coaching guide will begin by focusing on vision and where it comes from. Is it one from an exceptional visionary leader or from the group itself? A shared vision that is accepted by a group and aligns with their own personal vision is a powerful thing. The extrinsic vision focuses on achieving something relative to outsiders, while intrinsic visions are based on inner standards of the group. Over time, having an extrinsic vision weakens a church, for extrinsic visions are not sustainable by the group. They always need to be propped up by others. However, when a vision is shared by the group's own aspirations, they provide purpose and motivation. When people take ownership of the vision, it has the potential to produce long-term commitment. What I'm suggesting is that shared vision comes from personal ones. Understanding this principle and implementing it will produce group synergy. Perhaps you've seen those vision statements written on a plaque or a poster and put on the wall of a church somewhere. If these are just created by the leadership and there has been little buy-in, they usually just stay on the wall. But if the time has been taken to consider the members' values and their personal vision, a shared group vision can be a powerful motivator. Let me try to explain this with a simple diagram. Each person on your team or in your group has a personal identity. This identity is made up of their systems, their belief systems, what they really believe about life and others and themselves, as well as the experiences and history that they have and the relationships that they're engaged with. See, all three of these make up who they are. Now, each member in our church or in our team can't really change their history. It is what it is. Each also usually has long-held beliefs. Each person is also influenced by the relationships they are involved in. See, all of these factors make up a member's personal identity, and it is from this perspective that they filter new ideas and any vision that leadership may present to them. Now, by mission, I mean the big picture of Matthew 28:19-20. The mission of the church that Jesus gave to the church, and which is our overall context of ministry. The specific vision of our church or community is a subset of this overall mission of the church. See, each local church or ministry then has a specific part to play. For our purposes here, I'm calling this their vision. So our connection to the overall mission comes from our identity, what we hold as valuable, our history, as well as the people that we hang out with. Out of our identity then, we also learn to identify our part of Matthew 28, and this will become our vision. What we as leadership should be helping every member identify is what part they can play in the overall mission of the church. The final component in the pathways of vision is designed as a wineskin or structure for the ministry that will best fulfill that vision. This is why if we just try to impose our vision on others or a team, we often encounter resistance and skepticism. They are trying to filter this new vision from the outside with their own identity, which, as we have seen, is made up of their own history, their beliefs, and their relationships. All of these will impact how they see themselves fitting in with the vision and how it will fit in with the existing ministry structures. The challenge is that this process is happening with the leadership team and each member, and so getting everyone on the same page is not always so straightforward. People that say, this is the new vision, now follow me. Our approach usually has to do with our understanding of leadership. Is it top-down, or do we serve others by identifying what God is already doing in others' lives and how we can maximize what is shared with the vision of the members? This is usually informed by members' gifts, their passions, their values, and so on. See, these types of shared visions must be voluntarily committed to by others. If we are okay with mere compliance to a top-down vision, we'll never really experience the passion and the synergy that a vision can produce among members as they see it as their own vision. I'm here suggesting a different approach. So there are three critical questions which relate to vision. What, why, and how. What is the vision? What is the picture of a better future? And why does the church exist? This refers to its purpose. Then the how has to do with the core values, how the church wants to live life. We'll discuss these in greater detail in our team building workshop, which is in episodes 19 to 21 in this series, which I hope you can take a look at. See, visions spread or grow due to increased clarity, communication, and commitment. Together, these produce a shared synergy. A diversity of views can create a lack of focus and conflicts as individuals see different futures for the ministry. Of course, unity does not mean uniformity. As vision grows, there's inevitably diversity which must be allowed for, or the vision will suffer. However, this diversity must be harmonized through discussion and reflection with each other. Vision will suffer as people lose connection with each other, or if they become overwhelmed with the current reality and lose their focus on the future. Vision is only effective as people feel they can shape their future. See, most insecure or narcissistic leaders struggle to allow this type of vision. It usually has to be all about them.
This series is based upon our MCNet coaching and ministry guides. There are basically two parts to the series, 12 episodes that cover the 5 sections of the coaching guide and 18 episodes that cover the 8 workshops of the ministry guide. As a team, we have had the opportunity to serve in various parts of the world over the last decades using these materials to equip leaders and coach ministry teams throughout our ministry coaching network. This leadership team coaching in episodes 1 to 12 are intended for the core leadership team and cover big picture issues that affect the whole ministry. Here, issues regarding sharing vision, developing healthy culture, bringing about change, and multiplication strategies are discussed. There's a playbook at the end of each of these first 12 coaching episodes, which serves as a guide to help implement these church health and growth tools. These first 12 episodes then coincide with the ministry team workshops in episodes 13 to 30, which are designed to equip every member as they serve in the body. You can also check out our Christian Leadership Institute training program. This is a unique approach to ministerial training based on a competency-focused mentorship. The free materials for this series, as well as the coaching and ministry guides, are available from the links in the description box below. Just as many others have, we are sure you will find our other Leadership Matters podcast series helpful for you and your ministry.
Building upon the foundational principles of vision and where it comes from, let me suggest another factor that relates to our vision or where the ministry or church needs to be going. This has to do with systems thinking. See, regardless if we're aware of it or not, there are certain laws of a system which are at work in our ministry or our church. As was discussed regarding culture, there are certain dynamics at work in groups of individuals, regardless if the leadership acknowledges this or not. See, any local church, as part of the universal church of Christ, is made up of individuals. As a group of human beings, it has certain dynamics that are similar to other groups of people in society. Within the time and space of our earthly experience, Christian or not, there are certain laws that affect you as a leader and your group. Just as in the physical world, the law of gravity affects all humans, believers and non-believers, likewise there are organizational laws that affect all human structures, Christian or non-Christians alike. For example, if we were to climb to the top of the building and jump off, it does not matter if we are Christian or not, we're likely going to hit the ground. Now, God could do a miracle and we could fly away, but in this case I wouldn't count on it. Similarly, I don't think we can count on God suspending the laws of human dynamics. As believers, we are also bound by certain relational realities. So there are certain realities and dynamics that affect a group of people, including our churches and ministries. Of course, the church has a divine origin, and Jesus is the head of the universal church. But at a local church level, natural group dynamics impact how we interrelate. Granted, we hopefully display the fruit of the Spirit in our relationships, but there are aspects of human interactions that are not just moral or immoral, they're just more like gravity, just the way things function in our human relationships. So if we don't combine our understanding of vision with systems thinking, we will not be effective. To have a truly effective ministry, let me suggest that there are 5 necessary components. First, leadership needs to see how all parts of the ministry are interrelated. Second, leadership must be growing themselves and encouraging growth of individuals in the ministry. Third, leaders must be willing to engage in self-evaluation in order to assess their own deeply held assumptions and how these influence the ministry. And fourth, leadership must be able to share a common vision around which people can find common identity and a sense of destiny. And fifth, leadership must be building a team that is growing together and has a high level of trust and communication. Unfortunately, many ministries are stunted because they have a learning disability as an organization. Perhaps another way of saying that is that they have a blind spot or spots. A church that is a learning church, though, has a coherent belief structure that reflects their values, and they are organized with enough flexibility to achieve their mission. Back to wineskins. If a church or ministry is rigid and stuck, then it's highly likely that they will not achieve their goals, regardless of how hard they may try. As I mentioned, while we are the people of God and this has an eternal dimension, the structures which we are members here on this earth will inevitably need to change over time in order to adapt to different cultures and needs. Now, this does not mean that the quality of the wine must change, but rather is a matter of having flexible wineskins. The process of renewal is ongoing. Let me emphasize, this is not a theoretical exercise or just for organizational wonks. These dynamics are at play if we recognize them or we're aware of them or not. As leaders, we need to be aware of these dynamics at play in our teams and our members so that we can be proactive and effective leaders rather than just always frustrated trying to achieve our agenda without understanding what is going on under the surface. Like I said, someone somewhere needs to know how the sausages are being made. So as we wrap up this episode, let's look at the playbook for this section. To begin with, here are a couple questions to consider. How have you developed the vision in your church or ministry? Is it owned by the majority of the people? And how does a pathway of vision diagram clarify this process? Now, for each of the sections of this coaching series, we provide ministry team workshops which are designed to help anyone serving in the body apply these principles. For this section, the workshops are Developing Others 2, or Mentoring 201, and Team Building, which you can view in episodes 18 to 21. This is a follow-up to the principles of developing others through a mentoring relationship, as well as then how to develop effective teams. The goal is to reproduce healthy leaders who will then be able to build healthy teams and reproduce healthy ministries. Now, this is only an introductory episode to mentoring, so for the full workshop, check out my Mentoring Intelligent podcast series, which covers the content Developing Others 1 and Developing Others 2 workshop. There's also a link to our First Team podcast, which discusses principles of a healthy marriage relationship. See, various resources are also available in this section, including a vision assessment, a system analysis tool, as well as our extensive church health and effectiveness assessment. It is available in several languages and will be the basis for many of the workshops ahead. Our pathways of implementation this time includes instructions on how to administer the church health and effectiveness assessment within your church or organization, and the corresponding workshops, which are available as digital copies. I've also provided a guideline page which we have used to integrate the coaching sections in the workshops. The elliptical diagram explains the flow of the coaching sessions and the workshops and how they fit together. Now, the blue one illustrates how this material can be used within existing churches, and the brownish one for establishing new ministries. You can get links to all of these resources in the description box below. Okay, next time we're going to continue our discussion regarding vision and systems thinking. We'll see the importance of having the big picture by looking at several laws or principles that impact every organization, including churches included.